Welcome to the ART English Club. I'm Ting Ting.
I'm Anthony.
Today we are going to talk about sugar.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Oh yes, thanks. With milk and 3 sugars, please.
3 sugars. Wow, you have the sweet tooth. You like eating sweet things. Aren't you worried about your weight?
Yes, but I can say no to sugar. Just as our addiction to oil is causing a climate emergency, our sugar addiction is causing a health emergency for our bodies. Sugar gives us an instant hit of the chemical hormone dopamine, making us feel good, but in the long run, causing obesity, tooth decay, and diseases like diabetes.
But how did our addiction to the sweet stuff begin? I have now compared sugar to oil as the world's most important commodity. A commodity is a product or a natural resource that can be traded, bought, and sold. Today, economics, governments, and world are based on controlling oil, but in the early centuries, the same was true of sugar.
For 400 years, sugar, along with coffee and tobacco, was grown in slavery plantations and shipped across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe. By the time slavery was ended in 1834, the demand for sugar in Europe and the United States was at a record high.
Sugar was already an extremely important commodity in the 6th, 17th, and 18th centuries. And in the 19th centuries, we saw a staggering growth in sugar consumption in Europe and the United States. With that, sugar became the fuel of human bodies, whereas oil became the fuel for the vehicle in the 20th century.
Trading companies had become rich selling sugar grown using slave labor. When people began to realize the health problems of sugar in the 20th century, these companies needed new ways to sell their products. They began using sugar in food containing none, such as bread, cereal, and yogurt.
In this case, you can flood the market with a certain commodity with sugar, but that still does not mean that people will consume it. So people's eating habits have to change. Until the early 19th century, people had a few spoons of sugar per week, but not a kilo, with people consumed today in many countries in the world.
But just because something is cheap and readily available doesn't mean people will eat it. So, sugar companies try to increase sugar consumption by changing people's eating habits, how a group of people eat, for example, which types of food they eat, how much, and how often.
Instead of the 1 or 2 spoons of sugar per week, people start eating kilos, with results we see around us every day. Worldwide, obesity and heart disease have tripled in the last 50 years. What's more, because sugary food is cheaper, it's often the poorest in society who are worst affected.
Maybe it's time for some interesting historical facts. Do you know which English monarch loved eating sugar so much that their teeth turned black?
The answer might surprise you. During the years before toothpaste and the dentist, rose black, stumpy teeth belongs to Queen Elizabeth I.
Okay, let's recap today's vocabulary. We start with a sweet tooth. It's a fondness for eating sweet, sugary food and drinks.
A commodity is a product or natural resource that can be traded, bought, and sold.
Fuel is a substance, such as oil or coal, that is burned to provide heat or power.
The adjective scattering means shocking.
If a company floods the market, they release a lot of a particular products for sale, often at a low price.
Finally, eating habits describe how a particular group of the people eat. For example, which types of the food they eat, how much and how often.
Once again, our podcast is up. Next, we have 5 questions based on today's podcast. Please finish and submit them online. Join us again soon for more next time.
Bye.